What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Elias, I'm a photographer located in Athens, Greece, and in this video we're going to be reviewing a new Nikon Z mount. It's the Viltrox 40mm f2.8. So this is a new affordable Viltrox lens. It comes out, like I said, for the Nikon Z mount. So yeah, it's always nice to see small, affordable autofocus full frame lenses, because the more competition exists, the better for us photographers and video makers. As I mentioned, this lens is really affordable and it costs about 189 euros. So for a full frame autofocus lens, this is really affordable, but we also need to make sure that this lens is worth it and it's not just a waste of money. So in order to test all these things out, I took this lens with me on 2 professional portrait shoots, and I also did a little bit of night street photography with it, so we can see the image quality, the autofocus performance, the bokeh, the flaring and all that good stuff. But before we talk about the all important image quality, let's also take a brief look about the build quality of this lens, because I also think that it's really important to know how a lens feels in the hand, how it feels when you're carrying it around and all that good stuff. So full disclosure, this lens was sent to me by Viltrox, but they do not get to see the video before it's coming out. This review will contain only my own opinions and thoughts. I'm not getting paid in order to say anything, and like always, everything in this video is going to be, like I said, my honest opinion. So first and foremost, this lens weighs about 180 grams. It's really lightweight. It's made out of lightweight materials. Most of the materials being used in this lens are basically plastic, as far as I can tell, at least, to be honest, but it seems like it's really good quality plastic, you know. It's not like, I don't feel like it's going to break on my hands. It's a really nice, well-made lens over here. It is a naked lens, like it has no controls whatsoever. It doesn't have a manual focus to autofocus switch or anything like that. It doesn't have an aperture ring, but we get a nice soft manual focus ring over here. It has a little bit of texture on it, so you can grab it easily. On the back over here, we get a nice metallic back. We also have a USB-C port over here on the back for any future firmware. The filter size is 52mm, a really regular and everyday size, and we also get this small hood over here which clicks in place really nice, and you can also use it to turn it around and store it that way. So I always love when companies do that. This is really beneficial in order to have everything in one place stored. But yeah, other than that, there is not much going on over here in terms of the build quality. It's a lens made out of plastic, but to be honest, it's a really nice and well-made lens, especially for the price that you are paying. So Viltrox labels this lens as a part of their Air series lightweight full-frame lenses, and to be honest, I can understand why they named it that way. It's a nice lightweight lens which you can easily throw in your bag and carry it everywhere with you without the feeling that you are carrying a brick with you. So yeah, I don't have anything else to add about the build quality. Alright, let's now address the elephant in the room, which is basically the image quality of this little bad boy over here. So like I said, in order to test out the image quality, the autofocus, the flaring and the bokeh and all that kind of stuff, I basically used this lens in 2 professional portrait shoots, and I also did a little bit of street photography during nighttime. I will play a montage of the best images in just a little bit, so you can see the results that you can get with this lens over here. But for now, let's quickly jump right into Lightroom in order to see exactly what we are working with, about the sharpness and about some autofocus tests that I did. So I have a few images over here selected in order to see the sharpness, and let's quickly go and zoom in on this image over here, and as you can see, just wow, like you can see how sharp this lens is. We are wide open at f2.5 over here, and yeah, it's crazy. The amount of resolution, the amount of sharpness, the amount of detail that we get over here is just something else. In another image over here, as you can see, we are zoomed in at 100%, and again you can see all the detail that we are able to capture, again at f2.5, wide open, where a lens is supposedly softer. This lens over here performs excellent. Let's go into the develop mode in order to see the detail in its fullest. Let's check another image over here, and as you can see over here, zoomed in at 100%, we get some really nice detail. Over here, another one. We also have glasses over here in the front, which basically can make it harder for the eye autofocus to find the eyes, but in this case over here you can see that everything is really nice and sharp, and we get a really nice amount of detail. And another last image. I'm shooting here through the other photographer, through the arms of the other photographer, and again you can see that we get so much detail over here on the face of the model, and we have so much resolution to work with. On a quick note, I used my Nikon Z5 over here, which is a full-frame Nikon camera. This camera has not the best autofocus in the world, so if you have a Nikon Z6 II or a Z8 or a Z9, you will get much better autofocus than what I got with the Z5. So yeah, since I'm talking about the autofocus, let's also check a few autofocus tests that I did with this Z5 over here. I'm pointing this out because the Z5 doesn't have a good autofocus, so you will get even better results with your own mirrorless camera if it has a better autofocus system from the Z5 over here. So I will show you two different scenarios of my model walking in front of my camera and I'm trying to track her. I let the camera to use the eye autofocus in order to track her, and as you will see, and even with the camera that doesn't have the best autofocus, the lens performed really great. So yeah, let's zoom in on these images over here, and this first image is slightly out of focus, to be honest, but I want to show you all the images so you can get a better understanding of what we're working with. But this one is in focus, this one is in focus, this one is in focus, this is out of focus, again focus, focus, and as you can see it's getting harder because it's getting darker. She's stepping in the shadow, and the last image she's almost hidden in the shadow, but the lens still found her. So really good performance, and the next autofocus test was even harder for the camera and the lens because she's looking towards the shadow, but over here you can see that the first image is in focus, the second image eyes closed and in the shadow still in focus, in focus, in focus, in focus, in focus, in focus, in focus again. Over here it lost her for just a little bit. Again, head is turned around as you can see, and after a few bursts we had one image out of focus. Over here the camera found her head, so she's again in focus, and over here she's in the shadow completely, but she's still in focus. So as you can see, for 189 euros we get lots of resolution at f2.5, lots of sharpness at f2.5. You can see the amount of detail that we are able to capture on the eye of the model, and you could also see the great autofocus performance of this really affordable lens with this really affordable full frame camera over here. So you can only imagine what the autofocus performance is on a better Nikon Z full frame camera. I also took a few portraits towards the sun in order to see how the flaring is in this lens over here, and as you can see from this image over here, the detail is again really high. We lost a little bit of contrast because we are shooting towards the sun, and that's pretty much obvious, and obviously you can edit this image even more in order to get even more contrast out of it. But as you can see, we don't get a lot of flaring, the control is really nice. We get this line over here. Let's check more images of this specific location over here. You can see that the flaring is really well controlled. Come on, Lightroom, nice. Like the flaring is really well controlled. I don't see any issues with it. There is a small line over here which is you can see leaking inside our image, but besides that, like in most cases, I don't see anything. Here you can see the line again, but yeah, that's pretty much about it. Let's also check a few images out and see about the bokeh of this image. Over here you can see we have a nice and soft background. The rendering, as you can see here, it's not always the best. Like over here I think it's a little bit busy, to be completely honest. Over here the bokeh is much more softer. You can see it's controlled really nicely. And let's also use again the images that we saw earlier about the flaring, and you can see again over here on the background that we have a nice separation between our model over here and the background. It all depends on how far away the background is. Obviously if the background is really close to your subject, you won't get any separation, like let's say in this situation over here where we are shooting wide open, but we don't get any separation because the model is on the background itself. But if you place your model far away from your background, you will get some really nice bokeh, as I was able to show you. But as I promised you, I will shut up right now and I will play a small montage of the best images that I got from all these photo shoots that I did with this lens over here, so you can see the different creative and artistic results that we were able to capture with this cheap bad boy over here. All of these images were edited with my Lightroom presets. Some of them were edited on a more filmic way because this is also a style that I love creating. You can find these presets on the link down below on the description. They're really affordable, but yeah, I will stop talking right now, take something to drink and enjoy some really nice images with the 189 euros lens. As you can see, you can create some really stunning images with this bad boy over here. So let's jump right into the conclusion if we can recommend this lens or not. And to be completely honest, there are a few things that I really want to talk about. First and foremost, for the price, you cannot really beat this bad boy over here. You get so much sharpness even wide open, as you can see. The autofocus performance is really great. Like, this performs like a native Z-mount lens. The only thing that I noticed about the autofocus is that if the subject is a little bit far away from the camera, then it struggles a little bit to be completely tack sharp on the subject. But this also might be an issue of the Z5. Review coming soon for this bad boy over here for 2024. For example, on this image over here, which I really like, if you zoom in, you can see that she's not tack sharp. This is the only scenario that I found where it might struggle a little bit. Other than that, personally, I don't see anything wrong with this lens. Some of you might complain about the lack of an aperturing. Personally, I never use aperturing, so I don't care about that stuff. So again, you can't go wrong with this. This is a really nice option for anyone that wants to have a 40mm affordable prime lens. Personally, 35 and 40mm are my two most used focal lengths. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. I can't recommend this lens enough. But for Nikon Z-mount users, we also have the Nikon 40mm f2 over here, which is a direct competitor of this Viltrox lens. I will make a comparison video about these two really soon. So if you want to see the comparison between these two lenses over here, then subscribe and even like the video while you're down there, because this really helps out with the algorithm. And yeah, this is where I'm going to end the video. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your valuable time by watching my content. This really means the world to me, and as always, I'll see you all next time. Take care. Peace.